When I was 25, I married a man I had been in love with for 3 years. We met while we were both working at a call center and hit it off right away. As an only child who had moved out of home to go to university, I was eager to start a family. He was my first boyfriend and the only man I had ever slept with. He was handsome, funny, and a wonderful lover. After 6 months of dating, he surprised me on my birthday by taking me out for a romantic meal, followed by a weekend away at a luxurious resort. It was perfect, until he dropped to one knee and asked me to be his wife. I remember the scene vividly. There I was, standing in a five-star restaurant, surrounded by people. A few nearby guests stopped eating and turned their attention to us. I was completely shocked and overwhelmed. My new fiancé had planned the whole thing out and even had my mother's blessing, despite her being unhappy with his financial situation. But I was overjoyed that we were moving on to the next stage in our lives. The wedding was held in a church a year after we got engaged. He looked so handsome in his suit, standing there with the sun streaming in behind him. I couldn't believe he was going to be mine forever. At first, we couldn't wait to have a baby, but then we struggled to get pregnant. Every month when I saw the blood, I would cry. Eventually, I went to a fertility clinic and was diagnosed with endometriosis. It was devastating, but at least I understood why I was having such a hard time getting pregnant. My husband suggested we try IVF and I agreed. However, he was struggling with money and the cost was a lot more than he had anticipated. His hours at work were cut, so I had to go back to work. This meant that IVF was off the table and I was devastated. We tried everything we could, including going to see a fertility specialist. I had hormone injections and was on every possible medication. After all of that, we still couldn't conceive. One day, when we were lying in bed together, I told him how much it was hurting me. "Maybe it's because we're not rich enough," I said. "I'm trying my best," he replied. "I know, but I don't think it's working." I had given up hope. My husband suggested we adopt instead, and I was hesitant at first. It was a huge decision to make, and one that I knew would change our lives forever. But eventually, I agreed. The adoption process took a long time. There were many meetings and interviews, and a lot of paperwork. Then we waited for a child. It was almost a year before we got a phone call saying they had found a baby girl for us. We were so excited. Our lives were finally going to change. I had my hands full, raising the child. But my husband worked extra hours to make sure I could afford the things she needed. We had to give up our dream of owning a house and move into a tiny apartment. But we were happy. And then one day, my husband came home from work and told me he had lost his job. He said he was sorry and that he would find another one soon. I was upset, but I believed him. A few weeks later, he came home and told me he had found a new job. It paid better and had good benefits. I was relieved. A few weeks later, he came home from work and told me he was being laid off. He said he was sorry and that he would find another one soon. This cycle continued for several months. One day, I asked him if he would mind if we went to a counselor. He was shocked. "Why?" "I'm worried about you." "Don't be silly, I'm fine." "No, you're not. You've been acting differently. You're not the same person I married." "Of course I am. I'm the same guy who proposed to you and gave you the ring." "You're not. You're distant and detached." He denied it, but I could see something was wrong. I decided to ask my mom for advice. "Honey, I think you should get some help," she said. "He's not the same person you married." "Mom, it's okay. I'm fine, we're fine. We'll get through this." But my mother insisted. "No, sweetie, you need to do something." Finally, I agreed to go to a counselor. When I got there, the therapist told me she had seen my husband earlier in the day. She said he was depressed and anxious and didn't want to talk about his problems. "Is he sick?" I asked. "No, he's just unhappy," she said. "Unhappy? How can he be unhappy? He has a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter." "Sometimes it's not enough." I didn't understand. How could it not be enough? We had a beautiful daughter and a beautiful life together. What more did he want? The counselor suggested that my husband might be suffering from postpartum depression. He's a man, I said. That's not the only thing that causes it. What else could cause it? Stress, anxiety, life in general. Life in general. Yes, you can't expect someone to be happy all the time. Everyone has bad days. I guess. And sometimes, those bad days turn into bad weeks. And then, before you know it, you're having a bad month. But he's a man. Isn't that unusual? Not at all. In fact, it's quite common. Men can experience the same type of depression as women. They just don't like to admit it. After the session, I went home and asked my husband if he would mind talking to the therapist. Why? Because she said you're depressed. Depressed? I'm not depressed, I'm fine. Are you sure? Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I be? I was confused. How could he not see what was happening? Because you're not the same person I married, and I'm worried about you. I'm the same guy. The only difference is that I'm tired and stressed. Then, let's go to a counselor together. No, we're not going. I don't need therapy, I'm fine. Fine then, I'll go by myself. And so I did. The counselor told me that my husband was depressed. She said it was probably due to stress, and that it was normal for men to feel this way. So, what should I do? I suggest you spend more time with him. Get him out of the house and do things together. Maybe take him to the movies or go for a walk. But I don't have time for that. I have a job and a daughter to take care of. I know, but he needs you right now, and if you don't do something, he could lose himself. I don't understand. It's like a disease. If you let it go untreated, it can get worse. And before you know it, you're in the hospital and on a bunch of medication. What are you saying? I'm saying that your husband needs you, and if you don't do something about it, he could get really sick. Or worse, he could die. Oh my God, are you serious? Yes, I've seen it happen before, so please take my advice. Don't wait any longer. After the session, I came home and confronted my husband. How was your session? Fine. Really? Did you talk about your feelings? No, it was just a normal conversation. What's wrong? Nothing. I just want you to know that I'm here for you, and if you ever need to talk, I'm here. I know, but there's nothing to talk about. I'm fine. Everything is fine. I couldn't believe how stubborn he was. I had to do something. The next day, I brought him to the doctor. She examined him and asked him a few questions. Then she gave him a prescription for antidepressants. You need to take these 3 times a day, every day, she said. Okay, thank you. As we left the office, I told him how much I loved him. I love you too, he said, and I'm sorry for worrying you. I didn't mean to. It's okay. Just take your medicine and you'll be fine. But he wasn't fine. 3 months later, my husband committed suicide. He left a note saying that he couldn't take it anymore. He was sorry, and he loved me and our daughter. It was the most heartbreaking thing I had ever experienced, and it all started when he lost his job. I never thought that my husband's inability to provide for his family would lead to his death. But it did. And now, I have to live with the guilt and the pain of knowing that it was my fault. I should have been there for him. I should have listened to him. I should have taken him to the doctor sooner. I should have done a lot of things, but it's too late. My husband is dead. And it's all because I couldn't handle the truth. I couldn't accept that he was poor. I divorced my husband for being poor, and it destroyed me.